So many times what happens, the same kind of information is being reprocessed. In history you have nothing else. History is not like any other subject. You have to go for the facts. From Mughals, diverse questions are coming. Some on administration, some on painting, some on architecture, some on the policies of Akbar, because Akbar was the most important personality, some on the travelers. So what I would say, in general, revise the whole Mughal empire. We cannot separate out any one or two questions. And all of you need to remember that medieval and ancient, they are playing a major role. The UPSC has been asking questions from here lately, and more importantly about the invasions, because many invasions have happened. All of you know about Lodi dynasty. The Lodi dynasty came into power, okay, with the last rule of the Sayyid dynasty giving up voluntarily. Next, why did Buddhism start declining in India in early medieval times? So this could be a question which can get repeated. Hi everyone, welcome to PW, and now we are continuing with our series of previous year questions. All of you have understood by now that PYQs are very important for history, and in general in prelims some questions get repeated. But whatever information that is there in the PYQ, let us try to understand that from medieval history. I have broadly covered all the questions we have from last 25 to 30 years. I'm not limiting myself to now only 10 to 15 years that we did in the modern history. Why? Because there are lots of chances of. And I would like all of you to get the maximum benefit from it. Let us now continue medieval history. First topic that we have is tripartite struggle, right? So broadly from this tripartite struggle, we have few dynasties, and some of the themes can be arranged from this, right? So largely all the questions are not directly linked with this, but broadly the time period. That's why we are just trying to cover that up. So please see, in this question, we have to come up with the correct chronological order, right? Such kind of questions can come in the examination where they are asking you about the chronology of that. Please see, rise of Pratihar under King Bhoj, establishment of Pallava power under Mahendravarman I, right? So if you see this first one, Pallavas. So largely when we discuss about Pallavas, we talk about the late 6th century and the early 7th century. This is one of the earliest that we have, right? Then establishment of Chola power. Again, the Chola power, it's a little bit later on. The second one, it will be the Pala dynasty. All of you know that Palas, one of the earliest dynasty in comparison to the others. So Palas will be the Gopala, broadly the middle of 8th century, right? So we can easily see the options here. The first one will be the second, right? Then we have to go for the fourth. Then we have the first, and the last one is the third. And this question is basically chronology. You have to have a broad idea, okay, that Mahendravarman belongs largely to the 7th century. Then we have Gopal to the 8th century. 9th century, then we have the Bhoja, and then we have the later on 10th century we have in the Karnataka. So like this, if you can remember the information, you can arrange them and come see. Next question, who was the one who laid the foundation of Rashtrakuta Empire? Rashtrakuta Empire, it's in the middle of the 8th century, right? And the answer in this case is going to be Dantidutta. The answer will be B, very easy. Next, we see the Imperial Cholas. So, with respect to Cholas, we have two very powerful personalities. One, which all of us know, Raja Chola. The second is Rajendra Chola. Please remember their achievements because UPSC has been asking, right? So here also I'm going to give you a few advices, just like I did in the ancient also. The first advice that we have, that is, please remember the dynasties of early medieval. Okay, sometimes UPSC is asking about the chronology. Sometimes they're asking about the broader dynasties from this. So please be aware about them. Don't be like that you have zero idea about them. Don't be like that. That is going to create a big challenge, right? Let us now understand. The Cholas defeated Pandyas and Cheras and established the domination over peninsular India in the early medieval times. Correct. The Cholas sent an expedition against the Shailendra Empire of Southeast Asia and conquered some of that. Is also correct. So Rajendra Chola was responsible for that. So in this case, both statements are correct. Answer is going to become C. As you can see, we are trying to cover the maximum possible questions. So please try to remember them. This factual information can be very useful in the exam hall. Sometimes for elimination, sometimes for direct. Please see here, which of the Chola kings conquered Ceylon, right, or Sri Lanka? So we have two people, Raja Chola and Rajendra Chola. Raja was able to conquer the northern part of Ceylon, but the complete Ceylon was captured by Rajendra. Answer become C. Okay, so that's why we have to remember the founder Vijayanagar. Remember about them. Who is the founder? The important policies. The most important inscription, Uttarameru inscription, that belongs to the Karnataka. Please remember these facts. Okay, these facts are going to be very important. Now, a few questions about our most important dynasty, the Delhi Sultanate in general. The UPSC has been asking questions from here lately, and more importantly about the invasions. So many invasions have happened, and the Mongol invasion has been one of the most chief theme of this time period. Let us see the statement number one. The first Mongol invasion of India happened during the reign of Jalaluddin Khalji. No. Okay. So during the first dynasty, what's the name of the first dynasty? Slave dynasty or Mamluk dynasty. We see some of the invasions starting from the time period of Iltutmish. The first statement is incorrect. So on the basis of this, you can easily eliminate B and A and C. We are left with B and D, only 2 or only 3. Second statement, during the reign of Alauddin Khilji, one Mongol assault marched up to Delhi and besieged the city. Second statement is absolutely correct, and in fact, with very hard level of bargain and very hard and very successful level of implementation of the emergency measures, Alauddin Khilji was able to safeguard his city. Second statement is correct. Third, Muhammad bin Tughlaq temporarily lost portion of northwest of his kingdom to Mughal. That is incorrect. So the answer here is going to become D. Sometimes UPSC just extrapolate some facts also, like statement number 3. Many people feel like, okay, it may be correct. Not happen. In fact, the Mongol scares or the Mongol invasion, they broadly stopped from the early reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and the most ferocious is going to come during the later part of Tughlaq dynasty, in which will be responsible for its downfall, right? So 1398. Here the answer is going to become B. Next, with reference to Indian history, who of the following were known as Kuldharan? So Kuldharan means a pointed cap, okay, and that's linked to Sayyid, the dynasty, which is usually we do not read about. Same kind of question, okay, the invasions. It was during the reign of Iltutmish that Genghis Khan reached the Indus in pursuit of fugitive Wazim Prince Jalaluddin Mangbarani's. First statement is correct, yes. Second, please see, it was during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq that Taimur occupied Multan and crossed the Indus. So, it is not during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq reigned from 1325 to 1351. Taimur came in 1398. So, there is no correlation between. It was during the reign of Devaraya II of Vijayanagar Empire that Vasco da Gama reached. Vasco da Gama again came in 1498. Devaraya II, his reign is before in the first half of 15. Again, it doesn't make any sense. So if it's going to become one of these are the kind of questions which we consider in general as easy, and you should be able to do them, right? Like in the person during whose reign you see the entry of Taimur, it is Nasiruddin Mahmud Shah, and he is the one who is going to continue as the last Tughlaq. Some questions have been asked by UPSC with respect to him. See them later. Now about the administrative system of the Delhi Sultanate. Let us see some statements about that. Number one, in the revenue administration of Delhi Sultanate, the in charge of revenue collection was known as Amil. That is correct. Amil was the officer. The Ikta system of the Sultans of Delhi was an ancient institution. So ancient system has nothing to do with Ikta system. Ikta system was initially it was among the Persians and from the Persian, right, and from Arabs it eventually was now taken by the Turks. So in this case the second is correct. The office of Mir Bakshi came into existence during the reign of Khalji. So no, Mir Bakshi comes in the Mughals. So third statement is also correct. Answer again here is 1. Right, so such are the kind of questions which you can easily do. Some statements also, some keywords also, like see this keyword, Banjaras during the medieval period of Indian history were generally the traders. They used to take the goods from villages to towns and from towns to. So this level of trade was being under the control of Banjara. That was very important. Right? When we discuss the Alauddin Khilji's market reforms, there you must have heard of that Banjaras were given a fixed commission to bring the products. Next question, if we see, Muhammad bin Tughlaq issued a new gold coin which was called dinar by Ibn Battuta. That is absolutely correct. Second, Muhammad bin Tughlaq wanted to issue token currency in gold coins to promote trade with West Asia and North Africa. Now, why would somebody create a token currency in gold? It doesn't make any sense. Token currency is always utilized to give a higher value. Okay, so in this case, it was the copper which was assigned the value of silver. Silver, there was in general scarcity during his reign, and that's why the currency experiments were being done in China also, in Persia also. So he was not the only one during his age to come out with token currency. But sadly, there was very bad implementation, and the traders etc. were able to copy it very easily. So forging was responsible for the failure of one of his experiments, that was token currency. Reasoning is absolutely wrong. Answer is going to be C. That is, the A is true and is false. Answer would be C. Next question, let us please see. This is a very easy one, right? All of you know about Lodi dynasty. The Lodi dynasty came into power, okay, with the last ruler of the Sayyid dynasty giving up voluntarily, right? So it was Alauddin. Alauddin was the name of the last ruler. He gave up the overall kingdom and he said, now I'm going to just be a saint. That's why here the first dynasty, right? It was Bahlol Khan Lodi. The second was Sikandar, and the last one was Ibrahim Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi was the one who got defeated in the first battle of One. That's from that also you can easily derive the answer is going to become C. Okay, very easy. Alright, so answer will. Next, see who was the last ruler of the Tughlaq dynasty of Delhi Sultanate. Just now we have discussed. The answer is going to become Nasiruddin. This question was also asked 2004. So many times what happened, the same kind of information is being reprocessed. Because in history you have nothing else. History is not like any other subject. You have to go for the facts. Here the answer is going to become C. Next, see how did Sultan Qutbuddin Aibak die? Okay, 2003 this was asked. So all of you would have known that he was the person who was playing horse polo, which is also known as Shogun, and after falling from the horse, he got injured and he died by 1210, and there was a struggle of power. And eventually Iltutmish, he came into the picture, and he was responsible for the laying the real foundation of Delhi. Answer here will become D. Next, again an assertion and reasoning. Assertion and reasoning, as I have been telling you, has been now reintroduced by UPSC from last 2 years, and you can expect few questions like this. Okay, so please read these questions very carefully. In fact, you can just pause the video and see the question in case you do not have the PYQs with you. So you can do that, solve it, then understand the explanation also. That is going to give you a lot of broad clarity on the topic. Please see here. Muhammad bin Tughlaq left Delhi and for 2 years lived in the camp called Swargadwari, and at that time Delhi was ravaged by plague and many people died. So that is correct, right? So the answer is the correct info. Next, historian Manani refused to consider state in India under Delhi Sultanate as truly Islamic. Because why? Because in general the people, the king, they used to follow their own law itself, right? The religious law, it was known as Sharia, and the secular law, it was known as Rawabit, right? So this was religious and it was secular. In fact, if you see people like Alauddin Khilji, they were not under the control of anyone. They used to believe that the principle of strength is the most important. It's not about anything. It's not about the religious class ulemas who's going to give us the direction how we should rule our country or rule our kingdom. Here the answer come that the Sultan supplemented the Muslim law by framing his own regulation. Okay, so very important, this need to please see the next one. With reference to medieval India, which of the following is correct? Alauddin Khilji first set up a separate Arij department. So it was not him, it was Balban who came out with the military department known as Diwan-e Arj. Balban introduced the branding of horses. It was not Balban, it was Alauddin Khilji. The roles have been reversed in A and B. Both became incorrect, that's why. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was succeeded by his uncle into the military, not by his uncle, it was his cousin, okay. And Firoz Tughlaq set up a separate department of slaves. Yes, it was Diwan-e Bandega. Answer will become D. Okay, so please remember the administration. Next, the departments and which dynasty was responsible for its establishment. Diwane Bandagan, so it was, as we have discussed, Tughlaq the first, correct. Diwane Mustakharj, it was Alauddin Khilji, it was not Balban. Diwane Kohi, it was again Tughlaq dynasty, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Diwane Arj, it was Balban. B, C, D, they are interchangeable. First one is Firoz Shah Tughlaq. A, again assertion and reasoning. Battle of Khanwa was certainly more decisive and significant than the first battle of Panipat. Why? Because it was Rana Sanga who was now King Babur. Initially, when Babur came to India, everybody was thinking that he will come, he will just loot, plunder like Pur, he will go back, return to Afghanistan. But he was now not ready for doing so. So that's why he fight with Rana Sanga. And that is the Battle of Khanwa 57. Rana Sanga, the Rajput, was certainly a more formidable adversary than Ibrahim. Both are correct. That's an explanation also. Come A. Mongols under Genghis Khan invaded India during the reign of. I hope this is very easy. We have already covered this. Answer will be this 𝐂𝐇𝐀. Okay. The king was freed from his people and they were freed from him. On whose death did Badauni comment this? So Badauni, he was not the religious personality and during the time of the Akbar. So he has written this information about none other than Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq was one person whose administration is always criticized and it was having reverses, right? Sometimes he was happy, sometimes he was sad. Majority of his experiment they failed. That's why whenever, even in the current era, when we criticize somebody's administration, we say it is a Tughlaqi administration. No system is there. Whims and are becoming a part of administration. Answer is C. Next, to which Lodi Sultan does the map relate and what town does the site marked A on the map represent, right? So, please see here, the answer, the state marked is A. So, it is Jaunpur, right? And it is definitely during the time period of battle. So, answer is going to become A. The first writer to use Urdu. So, the first person who utilized Urdu among all these, please see the options. Amir Khusro, Mirza Ghalib, Bahadur Shah Zafar and Faiz. So, naturally the answer is A. Options are very easy. Even Ghalib is very famous for Sher and Shari. The answer is Amir. First one. Fawazil in the Sultanate period meant. The Fawazil is nothing but that was the balance which was transferred by the Iqtadar to the state. Let me just take a diagram and make. So what used to be there during the Delhi Sultanate? I will give you again the advices what to do, what not to do. Suppose if this is the entire empire, the area which used to be under the direct control of Sultan, that area was known as Khalisa. And the whole revenue, the Khalisa, used to go directly to Sultan. So this was not shared with anyone. The rest of the areas, they were divided into what is known as, okay, Ikta was the area which was given Tadar. Sometimes was also known as Mukti. They were also termed as. These terms are interchangeable. Sometimes they ask these kind of questions. Mukti, Delhi Sultan refers to. So anyway, Iqtadar was responsible for the collection of revenue. Okay, they were responsible for the collection of revenue. And what do they used to do after the collection of revenue? After the collection of revenue, what they used to do? They used to now naturally the revenue, they used to minus the expenditure. Expenditure could be under multiple head, their own expenditure, expenditure of the army that they were trying to have under themselves. So whatever was the remaining revenue minus expenditure, this was known as Fawazil. And this Fawazil was now given back to. Okay? So whatever excess revenue after the minus of the expenditure used to be there at the level of the Iqta, that was given to Sultan. That is meaning this. Fawazil, revenue assignment in lieu of salary, excess amount paid to the exchequer by the Iqta. I hope the answer is. Next, consider the following. Now again we have to go for the chronology. I think this is a very easy. The first monument among them is Qutub Minar, right? So third, we're left with A and B. Second is naturally going to be Tughlaq dynasty, right? Even on the basis of dynasty, you can come Dev dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, and then the Lodi dynasty. So 3, 1, and then 2, and the last one will be the Mughal. In this case, the answer. I hope many questions are very easy, but you should not just cram the answers. As I'm telling you from the first lecture itself, the most important thing is to get the maximum out of this. Use this information to improve your understanding of the subject, and once you're able to do so, the outcome, hopefully, answer will become B. Sultan of Delhi, who is reputed to have built the biggest network of canals. So look, somebody who was responsible for the most benevolent policies during the Delhi Sultanate was Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq was known for the various construction public buildings, right? He was also responsible for digging multiple canals. That's his key. Okay, next, again, assertion reasoning type question. At first, the Turkish invasion in India was essentially military. Yes, can be seen. In fact, Qutbuddin Aibak, he was working on behalf of Ghuri. The country was parceled out as Ikta among leading military cause. So you can put an answer because in between the state assertion and reasoning. Answer will become A because it makes complete sense. Next, the medieval Indian writer who refers to discovery of America. Now that's a very unique question which I found when I was just reading these previous year questions. So here the answer is going to be Abul Fazl. Abul Fazl discovered. See, this can come. Okay, these kinds of facts are like a revelation for a teacher. After consolidating his power, Balban assumed the grand title of, right? So Balban came to power in 1260, but he was not the rightful throne. He had to fight with all the previous nobles who were defeated by him, known as Turkane. After defeating all these nobles known as Turkane Chehalkani, came out with his the famous theory of sovereignty, and eventually took the title of Zinde as the shadow of God. C. Next, the route indicated in the map was followed during the course of military exploits by Chandra II, Harshvardhana, Rajendra Chola, or Malik. Rajendra Chola did not go that much north. Okay, he went towards the east. So it doesn't make. Harshvardhana was not able to go here. He was defeated by Pulkesin. Chandragupta II had no control over South India. So the answer is Malik Kafur did it for whom? For Alauddin. You can easily see Devagiri, Kakatiyas, then he went towards the Varsmudra, then he went towards Madurai. This is the answer is going to be Malik Kafur. Next, multiple questions have been asked from regional kingdoms. UPSC has been asking you those from those areas where everybody is ignorant by and large, right? Nobody knows about these dynasties, nobody knows about these. That's why I've given you the first advice, which all of you should remember sincerely. Early medieval period, remember about these dynasties, their rulers, very, very important. Second advice from Delhi Sultanate, okay, from Delhi Sultanate, please remember about these invasions UPSC has been asking them, plus administration, and invasion. This is the minimum which you should be able to understand. Alright, these are two advices so far. The first advice is going to continue because these questions are. How many pairs are correct? Let's see. Nanuka. So he was linked to Chandela. Yes. Second, Jaya Shakti to Parmar. No, Jaya Shakti is also linked to Chandela. Nagbot second, Gujar Pratihara. Yes. Bhoja linked to Rashtrakuta. No. So Bhoja was not linked to Rashtrakuta. All of you know about linked to Pratiharas. So here the answer will be B, right? But doing these or solving these questions is not that easy if you have zero idea. So please read the dynasties or revise the dynasties of early medieval period sincerely. Again, see this question 2023. How many of the above dynasty established their kingdoms in the early 8th century? Now, how can you solve this question? With a very easy logic. All of you remember Malik Kafur. So Malik Kafur raided Hoysalas, Dohar Samud. He raided Kakatiyas of Warangal. He also raided the Yadavas of Devagiri. So 1, 3 and 4. They were being raided in the 13th century, or they were being raided in the 14th century, not 13th. So since they were being raided in that part, so he was the one responsible for the decline. So 1, 3 and 4 naturally will not belong to it. and the left out is Gahadwala. The Gahadwala, Jaichand, it was defeated by Muhammad Ghori in the 12th century. So none of them they belong to the 8th century. The answer come none. But what will happen now? Many people they will not know even about these dynasties. These have that interrelationship among them. This is going to create a better answer for you. It's going to create good understanding for you. The answer is going to become D. Please remember my advice. It's very important to have some idea among them. Third advice for revision purpose, please have good understanding of these Portuguese. Okay. UPSC has been asking about these Portuguese travelers in an incessant manner without stopping. They're asking every year. So since they're asking every year, we should be, in fact, I will put a star mark, okay, on Portuguese. Portuguese, their arrival, their relationship, very, very, okay, you can expect. In fact, question is coming roughly every year. Who among the following rulers of medieval Gujarat surrendered due to the Portuguese? So please try to understand. The answer is one, that is C. Next, with reference to Indian history, which of the following statement are correct? The Nizamat of Arcot emerged from Hyderabad. No, it did not emerge from. Right? Correct. Mysore kingdom emerged from Vijayanagar. Correct. Rohilkhand kingdom was found out of territories occupied by Ahmad Shah Durrani. Now, Ahmad Shah Durrani never occupied as such territory in India. He came, he actually went. It was Timur, right, who did some occupation, and after that Nadir Shah did some. So Nadir Shah, he was the one who was responsible for the later on the advantage was taken by Najib-ud-Dawla. So here the answer is going to, the third statement is incorrect. Only 2 is the answer. B. So the following are a very important seaport in the Kakatiya kingdom. Kakinada, Motupalli, and many of us, we gave this exam in 2017. We got it wrong. Majority of us went for Masoli. The answer was Motupalli. Motupalli is the one, and even the traveler Marco Polo, he visited it. So Motupalli was a very important port during time. This is the factual information you have to remember. Nothing else you can. Now, UPSC has also been experimenting with these kinds of questions. Well, they will put the name of the state and then the previous name of that state or that region, right? So please see Champaka. The Champaka was a name for Chamba Valley. Now, Chamba is not linked to Sand. First one is incorrect. Durgara linked to Jammu. Yes. Third, Kuluta linked to Malabar. So it was not linked to. Kullu is linked to the area of Himachal. So here only second is correct. Answer B. You can remember this. Okay. Like Champaka for Chamba, Durgara for Jammu, Kuluta for Kullu, again Himachal Pradesh, Malwa for Central India, all of you, that's the east one. Kamrup is easy. Trigarta is a bit difficult, so please remember that is for Jalandhar. Utkal is easy for Odisha, and then Twipra for Tripura, so that is also easy. Next, how did the dynasty of Nizam Shahi of Ahmednagar came to an? All of you know that all of these who were part of this Bahmani Sultanate, they got disintegrated. After they disintegrated, eventually they were captured by the Mughals. And one of the earliest one to be captured by them, it was Ahmednagar. So here you have to remember about the historical information. The answer lies in the A. It was annexed into the Mughal Empire and Hussain Shah was alive. You have to remember the information. Hoysala monuments are found at now Hoysala. Okay, so can you see that UPSC has been asking question about Hoysala on multiple occasions. Hoysala, they had 2 capitals. Okay, the earlier capital was Bidu, the later capital was at the time of Ilbidu. Okay, or Dwar Samudra. So answer is going to be B. Next, the following Muslim rulers were hailed as the Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru is a very famous title which is going on. The current government is trying to make India a Jagat Guru. So who was the Jagat Guru in the medieval times? Here the answer is going to be C. Ibrahim Adil Shah, for following a very liberal policy with respect to Jews as well as answer in C. Next, the striking feature of the Jama Masjid in Kashmir completed by Zainul Abidin. Zainul Abidin was the person who ruled over Kashmir. Okay, he was from a dynasty known as Shah Miri dynasty. He was the one who was ruling them from the time of 1420 to 1470. and that was the time 1420 to 1470, 50 years. So he was the forerunner of Akbar. He did multiple things. He abolished Jajka. He also allowed the Kashmiri Pandits to come back, and eventually he was also a very big patron of art and art. If we see the architecture, you can see the photo of this. Okay, this is the architecture which is linked to this. If you see architecture, so it does have a turret. Turret means a small tower on a bigger tower. So that's the structure which you can see. Can you see a very small tower at the top or a bigger tower? The first one is correct. Second is similarity with Buddhism pagoda or Buddhist pagoda, correct. Because Buddhism was before Islam in Kashmir. Buddhism was having an right, and if you see the nearby area also, Buddhism remains prominent in Ladakh region. That has an thing on the architecture. Persian style, yes, because of the Western. Answer would be B and C. Next, one consistent feature found in the history of southern India was the growth of small kingdom. They could never become large empire. What is the requirement of a large empire? We need aloof plains, we need fertile plains, but possible in North India, not in South. That's why it never happens. Can you see the answer number C? The absence of vast areas of fertile land. Next, each one of the following monuments has a dome which is said to be one of the largest in the world. So when we talk about dome, we have to identify which is having the largest one. When we see tomb of Sher Shah, no. Jama Masjid, it has a big tomb but not that big as itself. Tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, no. Gol Gumbad, can you remember the Gol Gumbad? It is one of the largest dome in the world. So answer will become D. Vijayanagar, we have seen multiple questions on Vijayanagar. Okay, so here also would like to put this in priority. Okay. I am putting those areas in priority from where questions are coming very regular. Like Vijayanagar remains important and multiple types of questions have come. As basic as who founded this kingdom, Harihara and Bukka, that question. Policies of Krishna Deva Raya, they have been asked. Okay. Vijayanagar remains an important part. Travelers, multiple questions on travelers of Vijayanagar have been asked. Two, this is one area where I would like you to put some real effort. Okay, don't leave it. This area is very, very important. Please see, who among the following rulers of Vijayanagar Empire constructed a large dam across the Tughabhadra river, canal cum aqueduct several kilometers long from the river to the capital city? Here the answer is only one, that is Deva Raya. Medieval times, the term funum. Now, funum was a kind of coin which was issued by the answer was B, coins. Can you see that, right? So they used three types of coins, Varaha, Dinar and Funam. And Funam was the most widely used. And chief gold coin was the Varaha or Pagoda. Tar was a silver coin, while Chetal was a copper coin. So even on the coinage, okay, on the coinage of Vijayanagar, UPSC has asked a question. Next, according to Nunes, now Nunes was a Portuguese writer, so now he gave us some idea about the various professions which were there for the women, and UPSC asked the question: wrestling, astrology, accounting, soothsaying. So women were there in every part. In fact, it's a very common fact that women wrestlers were there in the Vijayanagar Empire. So in this case, can you see the answer was D, 1, 2 and 4. So even on travelers, UPSC has been asking questions very regularly. Vijayanagar is one area, if you can give little bit focus to that, your chances of getting questions correct in the prelims are going to certainly increase. Tax rate on land was fixed depending on quality of land, correct, and private owners of workshop, paid and industries. Both are correct with respect to Krishnadev. Next, which of the following found in a new city? And then all of you know that Harihara first. That's the E. Not waste your time on that. Where is the famous Virupaksha temple? Virupaksha temple that we found at C, right? Hampi, Vijayanagar. Famous Vijay Vithal temple having 56 carved pillars emitting musical notes is located where? Right? The answer again is B. UPSC has asked multiple questions, like their style is known as the Provida style, right? The style of temple architecture is known as the Provida style for the Vijayanagar. So please remember that also. When Raja Vodiyar founded the kingdom of Mysore, who was the ruler of Vijayanagar Empire? At this point of time, the ruler was Venka. Again, a fact. You can do nothing about that, right? Which is the important development of the time of some person's reign. You have to remember it. There is nothing else you can. Such kind of information can be strategic depending upon what kind of question is interested. Then Narasimha Sulva ended the Sangam dynasty. All of you know that how many dynasties are there of the Vijayanagar? There are 4 dynasties, right? First there are the Sangama brother, then we have the Sulva, then we have the Tulva, and the last one is the Ravidu. 4 dynasties. So on that the question has Narasimha Sulva ended the Sangama dynasty and seized the throne for himself, starting the Sulva dynasty. Right? Veer Narasimha deposed the last Sulva and seized the throne for himself. That is. Veer Narasimha was succeeded by his younger brother Krishna Devaraya. That is correct. And Krishna Devaraya was succeeded by his half brother Raya. That is correct. So in this case, the answer is D. All are correct. Okay. Now, if this question itself replicates, suppose this year, it will be very uncomfortable for majority of you to solve the. That's why I'm saying at least the information which is there in the PYQs in history, damn it, use it. It can be like gold mine for you. At least you can get +2 marks. Again, Sulva Narasimha put an end to the old dynasty and assumed the royal title. Correct. And exactly same information. He wanted to save the kingdom from further degeneration and descent. That is correct. So the answer is going to become A. Also good. Chronological sequence, right? Reign of Krishna Devaraya. Now, Krishna Devaraya, he was a contemporary of Babur, 1509 to 1529. So, he belongs to 16th century. Construction of Qutub Minar, the first one, right? Second would be the having the first lead, the chronological event. Then, death of Firoz Shah Tughlaq around 1388. Arrival of Portuguese 1498. So, 2, 4, then 3, and last would be the 1. Answer would be A. I think that's it. Majority of you. One more theme which UPSC has been targeting over a period of time, it is at least the basic ideas with respect to Bhakti should be remembered by you. What are those basic ideas? Like initially you have to have understanding of Shankaracharya philosophy, Ramanujacharya, Vallabhacharya, Madhvacharya and their philosophy. Basic. Okay. Second, you should have some understanding of the later descents also. Like Kabir has been a prominent one. UPSC has asked many questions on that. So one more advice which I would like to give all of you, that please put little bit of effort on Bhakti and Sufi movement. Okay, some effort on Bhakti and Sufi movement. It may pay a lot of dividend for you. Okay, you will feel like slowly you are writing the whole syllabus, but there are few things which are very important. I cannot do anything about it. Like Bhakti and Sufi, they have been asking. I can give you the ideas where you can put more emphasis. Like in this case, they asked about the sculpture of Ramanuja, which was created. It was in current affairs, right? So UPSC just asked about the philosophy of Ramanuja, which was the philosophy of Ramanuja, and all of you know that the best mean of salvation was through devotion. So he was somebody who believed in Vishisht Advaita. Okay, qualified one, right? Monism. That's the answer is A in this case. Next, Saint Nimbarka was a contemporary of Akbar. No, he belongs to the early 11th broadly. First statement is incorrect and Akbar belongs to 16th. Saint Kabir was greatly influenced by Sheikh Ahmad Sarand. The other way around. Both statements are incorrect. Answer B. Such kind of questions can only be done if you have basic idea, you have some remembrance. Otherwise, it's next time. With reference to cultural history, Siddhas of the Tamil region were monotheistic and condemned idolatry. Correct. Lingayas of Kannada region questioned the theory of rebirth and rejected the caste. Second statement is also good. Lingayas, they used to believe that at the time of death they will meet Shiva, and after that there will be no requirement of rebirth. Naturally, the life ended. The whole story ended once they achieved their mingling with their god Shiva. So in the second, both statements are correct. Answer will be C, both 1 and 2. Next, again statements. Bijak is a composition of teachings of Saint Dadu Dayal. No, Bijak is linked to whom? Bijak is linked to only one, and that is Kabir Das. The philosophy of Pushti Marg was propounded by Madhvacharya. No, it was linked to Vallabhacharya. Again, the answer is going to be D. So please remember few important saints and their philosophy. If even that much you can do, and their important writings, whatever the compositions have happened, you may get some extra marks. Okay, this area is very random. but this random area can also give you some important marks, and that's why I always say please read it. In fact, there is one advice: if you have read Themes in Indian History Volume 2, that has a chapter on Vijayanagar, that has a chapter on Bhakti and Sufi also, that has a chapter on travelers also, and UPSC has been targeting a lot from that area, and I would request all of you to please at least have a go through that. Who of the following were preaching when Lodi dynasty fell and Babur took over? So Lodi dynasty fell, all of you know, 1526. Sadhu Dayal belongs to the later phase, he cannot be, right? Tyagaraja again, he belongs to 17th, 18th century. Guru Nanak, he was the one who was the contemporary. So answer would be 2 only, B would be the answer. Again, this question is on the practices of Sufis. Okay, among the Sufis also there were multiple silsila, there were multiple schools or multiple orders, and all of you should have an idea about them. Like the Chistis were the most popular one, but other than that, there are Suhrawardi, Naqshbandi, there were multiple Sufis who came to India. But anyway, let us see. In general, Sufis believed in meditation and control of breath. Yes. Severe ascetic experiences in lonely place, yes, and recitation of holy songs to arouse a state of ecstasy. That was what was done by the Chistis. Answer would be D, 1, 2 and 3. Among the following, who was not a proponent of the Bhakti cult? Okay, so Tukaram, Tyagaraj, Vallabhacharya, they were linked to this. Nagarjuna, you know, just in the ancient we discussed about Nagarjuna and the Nagasena. So Nagarjuna is linked to Buddhism. Answer would be A, he is not linked to Bhakti. Bhakta Tukaram was a contemporary of which Mughal emperor? So here in among them, answer is C, that is Jahangir. These kinds of questions are also being asked by UPSC. I don't know why they want everyone to know who is a contemporary of what. So the saint and their contemporary. If you can process this information for some important personalities, probably this can give you dividend in the exam hall. Again, now this is a question about the Mughals and not about the Mughals. This is a question about the important personalities. So we have to go for the chronology. Shankaracharya, Ramanuja and Chaitanya, and the first A itself is the correct answer. Shankaracharya belongs to the 8th and 9th century, Ramanuja belongs to 11th, 12th century, and Chaitanya belongs to the later 15th, 16th century. The answer would be A. Okay. Next also we see Kitab-i-Nawras, a collection of songs in praise of Hindu deities and Muslim saint, written by Abraham Adil Shah II, correct. Amir Khusro was the originator in India of the early form of musical style known as Qawwali. That is also correct. Its answer will become C. Next, Sufism. Again, Sheikh Ahmad Sarhandi was a contemporary of Ibrahim Lodi. No, he was a contemporary of later on Akbar and Jahangir. Okay, so the first statement is incorrect. Sheikh Nasruddin Chirag Dehlavi was a disciple of Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia. So that is correct. Aurangzeb was a contemporary of Sheikh Salim Chishti. All of you know Sheikh Salim Chishti's tomb is found where? At Fatehpur Sikri. And who built Fatehpur Sikri? Akbar. Third statement can be easily eliminated on the basis of that. Okay, so third one is incorrect. Qadri order of Sufi was the first introduced in India by Sheikh Ni'matullah and Muhammad Muhammad Jilani. So that is correct. So answer in this case is going to become D, 2 and 4. Next, who among the following was the first Bhakti saint to use Hindi for the propagation of his message? So this is a very important question, right? The first person to use was not Kabir. The first person to use was Ramananda. Ramananda was responsible for bringing the Bhakti from South India to North India. He used Hindi. Later he had many disciples, and later on this led to the rise of Bhakti movement in a very significant manner by 16th century. Answer would be C, Ramananda. Then we have to now, and this was a question asked once, the Bhakti saint and their profession. Like Kabir, majority of us know he was a weaver, but the rest it's difficult to remember, right? Like Namdev, he was I think a tailor. And then Ravidas was a cobbler. So on the basis of this you can form your answer. Okay, the answer is going to be B. Next, assertion and reasoning. Again, the sponsor and the most prominent figure of the Chishti order in India was Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. That is correct. Chishti order takes its name from the village Chishti in Ajmer. No, it is in Afghanistan. The name is Chist, and from the word Chist it becomes Chishti. So here A is true and R is false. Answer will become C. Next question, Nashtalik. So you must have heard about this this script, right? Nashtalik. So this has also been utilized for the purpose of creating calligraphy. So Nashtalik, it's a Persian script and it is very beautiful when it is written down. So that's why the answer is going to become A in this case. Please remember this. Okay, so this was used for the purpose of calligraphy. Next, the Sufi saint was who maintained that devotional music was one way of coming close to God was Moinuddin Chishti. None other than that. Answer is A. Next, Mughal period. So in Mughal period also lots of questions has been asked by UPSC. They have focused on administration, they have focused on art and architecture a lot. Right. So if you find questions on painting, majority of them are linked to Jahangir. Lots of questions with respect to architecture are linked to either Akbar or they are linked to Shah Jahan. So these are the areas from the UPSC has been asking. Literature specific questions have also been asked. So Mughal, if you read this topic comprehensively, largely this is going to give dividend to you, right? So in medieval India, this is again a very important topic. Let us try to understand this also. So we have to now see this correct sequence in ascending order. So if we broadly see the administration of the Mughals, is like this: Subha, then we have Sarkar, at the bottom we have Pargana. In fact, the concept of or the administrative system of Sarkar and Pargana, this was initially made by whom? None other than Sher Shah Suri, and on the top of this Subha was created by Akbar. So if you have to go in ascending order, so Pargana, Sarkar, and finally would be Subha. So here can you see that? Alright, so Pargana, then Sarkar, then Subha. A itself is the correct answer for ascending. Please remember, okay, what they have asked. They have asked ascending order or they have asked descending order. Instruction should be very clear and then go for the answer. Otherwise, the other way around also they have given Subha, Sarkar and Pargana. So it can be easily a problem if you will not read the instruction carefully. Okay, so A is the answer. Next, now this is on the institutions of Zamindar and Zagirdar, right? So you should have some understanding about it. If you will not read their feature, if you will not remember their feature, it will be next to impossible to come out with the right answer here. So first say, Zagirdar were holders of land assignment in lieu of judicial and police duties, where Zamindar were holder of revenue right. No, Zagirdar used to focus on revenue right, Zamindar used to focus on the police duty. So the first statement becomes incorrect. Okay, then land assignments to Zagirdar were hereditary and revenue rights to or Zamindar was not hereditary. That's the incorrect, because Zagirdars or the Mansabdar, they were not given hereditary rights, right? After their death, it was taken away. It was not based upon the law of escheat, right? You cannot just continue your fiefdom. And while on the other hand, Zamindar, they were hereditary. So the second statement itself is incorrect. So in this case, the answer is going to become B, neither 1 nor 2. Now this was a very interesting question asked by UPSC on Mia Tansen. Now Tansen was very famous, right? According to, with reference to Mia Tansen, which of the following student is not correct? He was given the title given by Akbar. So Akbar did not give him title. It was the Raja of the region of Gwalior, Vikramjit, who gave him the title of Tansen. This first statement itself is incorrect. He composed Drupad on the Hindu gods and goddesses. Yes, Tansen composed songs for his patrons and he invented many ragas. So that all the information 2, 3, 4 is correct. First one is incorrect. Okay. Who among the following shifted emphasis from manuscripts to albums and individual portraits? One, and that is Jahangir. Jahangir was a believer in portrait painting. So the following travelers elaborated discussed diamonds and diamond mines of India. So diamond mines is John Baptist Tavernier. He was the one who talked about this. Francois Bernier, he was the physician. So answer here is B. The arrival of Babur. When Babur came to India, which things he came out with? Like see, number 1. Introduction of gunpowder? No. Gunpowder was introduced in India during the reign of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, right? It was made from saltpeter. First statement is incorrect. Second, introduction of arch and dome? No, that is also not correct, because arch and domes, Indo-Islamic architecture, it begins from the time of the slave dynasty itself, right? Delhi Sultanate. Second statement is also incorrect. Third, establishment of Timur. That is correct. Answer would be B, C only. Next, with whose permission did the English set up their first factory in Surat? There is only one answer, that is Jahangir. Okay, same question was repeated twice, so answer would be Jahangir to that also. In the year 1609, where was the English East India Company given permission to set up factory? Again, the answer is going to be D, Surat. What happened? Surat was the first area where they were trying to set up their factory, but Portuguese, they came out in resistance against the English, and that's why the English then focused more on establishing their factory at Masolipatnam in south, and then again they established this in the Surat region. So that's the story about this. Which of the following statements are correct about the Sikh Gurus? Banda Bahadur was appointed as military leader of the Sikhs by Guru Tegh Bahadur. No, it was by the last Guru before the Guru Granth Sahib, and that is Guru Gobind Singh. The first statement is incorrect. Second, Guru Arjan Dev became the Sikh Guru after Guru Ramdas. Correct. Guru Arjan Dev gave the Sikhs their own script, Guru Mukhi. This is also known. So Guru Angad was the one who was responsible for that. Right. I do not know if this in this the question is wrong or the options is wrong, because it's a very old question, so I'm not able to do that or understand that. But anyway, the answer is going to be 2 only. That's why we have specified, and none of the options is correct. And it may be because the person who has probably written in the PPTs had made some mistake. But anyway, please remember it was Guru Angad. And if we take Guru Angad into the consideration, then B will become the answer. Otherwise, as it is, if we go, the answer is going to become only 2. Alam Khan, one of who invited Babur to invade India, he was the uncle of Ibrahim Lodi and pretended to the throne of Delhi. He wanted to capture this throne. So answer in this case is going to become A. Next, Ibadat Khana. I hope all of you are aware about Ibadat Khana. So Ibadat Khana is nothing but Ibadat Khana was the area where Akbar used to sit together with the other religious people of other religious denomination, and they used to discuss about the truth. So here the answer is going to become C, the hall in which Akbar held discussion with scholars of various religions. Answer will become C. Battle of Dharmat. Now Battle of Dharmat, it was fought between Aurangzeb and versus Dara Shikoh. Dara Shikoh, he had the support of certain Rajput, okay, and that's what this was all about. Mughal Emperor Jahandar Shah's reign came to an early end. Yes, so Jahandar Shah, he was defeated by whom? He was defeated by the next one, that is the Farooq Shiar. So answer would be C. He was defeated by his nephew in a battle, and Jahandar Shah, he was having the initial the support of Zulfikar Khan. Later on, Farooq Shiar was having the support of the Sayyid brothers. That's why the answer is going to become C. Next, Emperor Akbar marched towards Afghanistan in 1581 with a huge army. Okay, that is correct. And he was on his way to reclaim his ancestral country of Fargana. No, he was trying to create a scientific frontier. He was trying to capture Kabul region. So the reasoning is wrong in this regard. The answer would be C. A is true. The reasoning part is wrong. Shah Alam II spent the initial year as an emperor far away from his capital. Yes, that is correct. Okay, in fact, later on he was brought in by the Marathas. There was always a lurking danger of foreign invasion from the north of India. That is also correct, but it's not the explanation. Shah Alam II, he was afraid of his wazir. That's why he didn't want to stay. So internal crisis was the major reason. Here the answer will become B. Both are correct, but the explanation is not absolutely spot on. The motive behind Shah Jahan's Balkh campaign. So all of you know the Balkh region. He was the only person who tried to capture an area in Central Asia. So what was the reason for that? Number one, he secured a friendly rule in Balkh and Badakhshan, which bordered Kabul. The first statement itself is a answer to this. Okay. Then the area in the above map is the empire of. So can you see? Okay. So who is the person whose area is depicted here? As you can see that it is not having Bijapur and Golconda, so it cannot be Aurangzeb, right? Muhammad bin Tughlaq's empire went further south. Alauddin Khilji's major focus was only on north. He was not having Deccan under his direct control. He only had invasion. Answer will be C, that is Shah Jahan. So such kind of questions can come and you have to have understanding. Which among the following port was known as Babul Makkah? Babul Makkah means the gate to Makkah. So here the answer is going to become, as you can see, D, that is Surat. Surat was given that title. Now, which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? Jahangir, Akbar, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, and which traveler came during that time? Shah Jahan. Now, if you see Jahangir, William Hawkins, correct. Akbar, so no traveler was there. Sir Thomas Roe and Hawkins both came during the reign of Jahangir. The second is incorrect. Shah Jahan, Tavernier, correct. And then Aurangzeb, Manuchi, correct. So answer is going to be B. During the time of Akbar, for every 10 cavalrymen, the Mansabdar had to maintain 20 horses. It was not always so. So this is a hypothetical kind of a statement. Horses had to be rested while on march and replacement when necessary. So the second statement is generally correct. The first one is false. So answer would be D in this regard. Then again, we have to see again a map. That's why I'm saying that these kinds of questions can return. And these questions will not be that easy to handle because we do not have the in general idea about them. We do not remember information like this. Okay, if they will return, it will be very difficult to do so. First of all, we have to decide which area. So the kind of area which is there, it is broadly towards the end of the empire of the Akbar. Okay, it's not in the beginning. So that's very clear. So A and B will not be correct. It will be either C or either D. Now we have to see the areas. A is the area of Gondwana, same in both option. B, it cannot be Multan. This region is Lahore. Multan is towards further west. So here the answer is going to become D. Next, during the reign of Shah Jahan, Dara Shikoh was sent on expedition to Balkh, Badakhshan, Kandahar. Correct. Expedition sent by him to Middle East was a marvelous success. No, it was a broad failure, and later on it had to be taken over by Aurangzeb. Okay, so in this case, the reasoning is false. Answer would be C. The loss of Kandahar was a big blow to Mughal Empire. So Kandahar was lost by the time of the Shah Jahan. And why it was a big loss? Because scientific frontier was gone, strategic depth was gone. So answer is D, strategic stronghold. Okay, then head of military department during the Akbar reign, very easy. Answer is Mir Bakshi. B. Next, Mughal painting reached its zenith. Very easy, easiest of the question. Jahangir. Answer would be C. In medieval India, Mansabdari system was introduced for what purpose? Recruitment to army, facilitating revenue collection, ensuring religious harmony, effecting clean administration. So broadest जो answer है, that would be D, clean administration. The Mughal school of painting formed the spinal column of different schools of Indian miniature art, which was not linked to this. So Pahadi, Rajasthani, Kangra, all of them were having a impact on them from the Mughal side. But if you see Kali Ghata painting, this is of the 19th century British times, so it does not have any impact. Okay, so answer would be D. Okay, so from Mughals, diverse questions are coming. Some on administration, some on painting, some on architecture, some on the policies of Akbar, because Akbar was the most important personality, some on the travelers. So what I would say, in general, revise the whole Mughal Empire. We cannot separate out any one or two questions. That would make it difficult, right? But anyway, you have to revise. The Marathas emerged as the strongest native power in India after decline of Mughal Empire. The first statement is absolutely correct. Second, the Marathas were the first to have a clear concept of a united Indian nation. Look, the concept of India is of 19th century. After British were able to capture it, the second statement doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's why you have to remember. So the reasoning is false. So answer would be C. Who streamlined the Maratha administration after Shambhaji? So in general, look, the administration initially was organized by Shivaji, it continued to some extent by Shambhaji, but it was taken to the next level only by the coming of these Peshwas. So answer would be Balaji Vishwanath. Answer would be B. Okay, Ikta, Jagir, Amram and Mokasa. So these are the various land systems linked to which of the following dynasties? Ikta system, I hope all of you remember, it is Delhi Sultan. So we have the answer either as B or either as C. A and D are out of the equation. Jagir system, again now this is linked to the Mughals. So the B would be 3, right? So both are same so far. Then Amram, so this Amram land was given into the Nayakas in the Vijayanagar Empire. So C will be linked to 4. The answer will become broadly B, and Moksha is linked to the Marathas, right? Here the answer would become B. Remember Shivaji's Ashtpradhan who looked after foreign affairs. So Ashtpradhan means 8 important officials. So you should have an understanding of all 8 of them, because if any match the following question is going to come into the picture, it will become very, very difficult. So broadly try to understand. Peshwa was the head. Sumant was in charge of foreign affairs. So in this case, the answer can be easily understood. It would be A. But the rest you should remember. Sachiv looked after communication and record. Amatya about finance. Dabir for correspondence. Senapati was the commander. Easy. Nyayadhish was justice. Panditra was about the religious affairs. Okay, so that's why this is easy to remember. Ashtpradhan was a council of ministers. So Ashtpradhan and Ashtadiggaya, these are two confusing words. Ashtadiggaya were the 8 important personalities living in the court of the Krishnadeva Rai, right? And that is linked to the Vijayanagar. But Ashtpradhan, that was the 8-fold important ministers of Shivaji. So answer would be D. Then we also have lots of miscellaneous questions also, because in this we are covering broadly around 120 to 130 questions, okay, in this discussion. I hope this is going to be very useful for all of you. Hundi, now all of you need to remember, Hundi is nothing but it's a bill of exchange. So in this case, answer will become C. Next, with reference to the economic history of medieval India, the term Arghata Now, Arghata, what's the meaning of Arghata? Arghata, it was a kind of a device which was utilized for pulling out the water from the well. So, C, water wheel used in the irrigation of land. Answer would be C. Okay. Then again, few statements on the feudal system. A very stronghold, centralized political authority, and a very weak provincial or local authority autonomy. The emergence, which are the elements of feudal system? Very strong centralized? No. The reverse, very weak centralized and very strong provincial. The first statement is incorrect. Second, the emergence of an administrative structure based on control and possession of land, correct. Creation of lord vassallation, that is also correct. So answer would be B, 2 and 3. Okay, in feudalism in general, one thing is very clear, that central authority will be weak. That's the feature. Okay, otherwise it won't work. Then next, the designation of Mahatara and the Patakila. So they were nothing but they were the village officers. Answer would be B. Next, why did Buddhism start declining in India in early medieval times? So this could be a question which can get repeated. You see the first statement, Buddha was by that time considered one of the incarnation of Vishnu and thus became a part of Vaishnavism. Correct, he was the 9th incarnation. Invading tribes from Central Asia till the time of last Gupta king adopted Hinduism and persecuted Buddhists. This is incorrect. King of tribes, they were strongly opposed to Buddhism. No, in fact the later kings, they were very close to Buddhism. Third statement is also incorrect. So here the answer is only one, that is the reformation within the Hinduism. Then the temples and the state. I think this is too easy, right? But still you should at least remember, like Kandre Mahadev temple, right? So you can easily remember that. Raja Rani temple. Raja Rani temple, it is in Odisha. Vidya Shankara temple, this is in Karnataka. Vimeshwara temple, it is in Andhra Pradesh. So you can easily remember, but answer would be A in this case. Then the design and construction of massive temple took place during the reign of Suryavarman II. Suryavarman II is famous not for temple creation in India. He is famous for temple creation in the region of what is known as Indochina or Angkor Wat temple that we have in Cambodia, the largest temple, right? So answer would be B. Next, which of the following cities in the Lingaraja temple? So I think that's very easy. Bhubaneswar, A is the answer. Next, list A and B, we have to match them. Land allotted to the big feudal landlords. So that was the system which is known as the Zagirdari. Next, land allotted to revenue farmers of rent collectors. Land allotted to each peasant with the right to sublet, mortgage, transfer, right to sell. So that was the later system, right? Which is the Rayatwari. Then revenue settlement made at village level. That was Mahalwari. So you can easily see that, right? So easily you can come out with the answer. Answer would be B. Ahadis were those troopers who, now these were the troopers who were linked to the Maratha Empire, offered their services, yes, did not attach themselves to any chief, correct, had the emperor as their immediate colonel and attached themselves as Mirzas, no. So fourth is incorrect. Mirzas were the officials itself. The answer would be 1, 2 and 3. Then again, years and the important development during that time, right? And this is one format which I think may come. On one side there are only 4 options in list 1, in list 2 there are 5 options, so they may come. So please try to remember that. So please see 1556, that's very easy. Okay, second battle of Panipat and accession of Akbar also. The answer would be either B or C. 1600, what is 1600 known for? The grant of charter to East India Company. That is correct, right? So B would be 4. C, 1680, 1680 is the year of death of Shivaji. And D, 1739, that is the Nadir Shah's capture of Delhi. The answer would be B in this case, and you can easily remember the information. Some questions of art and culture are also there. Okay, in which of the following pairs of composers in different languages and their works on the Mahabharata theme is correctly matched? So here the answer is only one. Pampa has in Kannada. Answer would be D. Next, Apabhramsha. This term has been in news also. Apabhramsha. Apabhramsha is nothing but the manner in which the modern languages of India has emerged, and this became very curious during the time of the early medieval period. So answer would be C. Forms of some of the modern Indian languages. Okay. Apabhramsha means something which is deviated from the major one, that is Sanskrit. So the following pairs is correctly matched. Okay, so Guru Amar Das, Guru Arjan Dev, Guru Ram Das and Guru Gobind Singh. Which kind of system were they linked to? So in this case, you have to always remember the information. It will be B. So Guru Arjan Dev is linked to the Adi Granth. Prem Vatika, poems on the life of Krishna were composed by whom? It is going to be by Ras Khan. So here the answer is going to become C. Okay, which of the following were the famous jurists of medieval India? So during medieval India, if we see, there were multiple jurists who were famous. One were written multiple one, like Vijayaneshwara, right? We have Himadri also, as well as Jamutavahan. In fact, the two very famous system that we know about, Mitaksar is linked to Vijayaneshwara, and Jamutavahana, he is linked to Dayabhag. On these two systems, UPSC asked a question, I think in 2020, right, with respect to the inheritance rights. In this case, jurist means these are nothing but who have written about the Dharma Shastra. So A, B and D are the answer, or 1, 2 and 4. And Rajashekhara was not someone like that, right? So he was more of a poet and dramatist. Then Bhavabhuti, Hastimala, Shamendra, who were all of them? All of them, they were nothing but they were the playwrights, drama writers. B, right? So these are all the questions which we were required to discuss from medieval India. And all of you need to remember that medieval and ancient, they are playing a major role. Please watch all these videos. If you watch these videos, you will get a lot of understanding, right? At least information will be there. What kind of questions can come? I have given you the broad roadmap also in ancient as well as medieval. So please revise all these videos. Probably they will help you out in the exam, and I will be very happy if you do so. Thank you so much. Keep on learning. I will make one more video on art and culture. Some questions may get repeated because it's very difficult to completely extract, right, ancient medieval from art and culture. Some questions may get repeated in that lecture, but that will further help in remembering the information. I will make one more video is going to come in this PYQ series. Stay tuned and keep on revising, and all the very best. Thank you so much.